Welcome to the 97th weekly episode of Marked Out Radio. We are the premier podcast focused on the hobby of collecting autographs and photo ops from celebrities. We talk about autograph conventions, on-the-street encounters, and everything else about the hobby. I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
And while I'm sitting here in a neck brace, I'm still going to do my best to bring you the entertainment that you expect and hope for.
With a broken freaking neck.
Right. So, yeah, kind of in a way. Yeah. So a little bit of a crazy week for me. I did mention that I will be out of commission after the Jet Li signing, and that is true. I did go and have neck surgery right after that, and I was getting combos right up to the minute before my neck surgery.
Imagine had you unceremoniously croaked on the operating table, and you would have spent your last day on Earth at the Jet Li signing.
That literally was what could have feasibly happened. It is pretty funny, and there aren't too many people who do know the last thing that I did prior to getting surgery was in fact go to the Jet Li signing, and then I immediately sold that book on eBay.
And I did that like 2 days later, but more on that in a few.
Absolutely. So, another exciting week for the Marked Out autograph collecting community on Facebook. I must admit that I was at least for the couple of days there, I wasn't really following too closely. I had to kind of catch up after the fact. But you were like sharing things with me, thankfully in DMs, and I was like trying to catch up on the good stuff. There was a pretty funny thing. And kind of an interesting question. So there was that really cool, I guess a couple of Knicks were trying to take a group op for themselves, and naturally a fan does what a fan can do and tries to photobomb from behind. And so it always, it kind of, it brings up the question as to whether a photo bomb counts as a valid photo op.
I think it, I mean, if you could just go by the terms of validity on a photo op, their eyes are looking at the lens, they're in the frame, they're in the game. I think it's valid, but there's shades. If you're a photo bomb from like 50 feet down a sidewalk, like, going crazy with your, waving your arms in the background, that would be maybe by the letter of the law still valid, but, objectively crappy. This guy is like one row behind them, and I mean, we pay big bucks sometimes to be either a bit in front or a bit behind talent that don't want to stand up or what have you. So I would take that group op as that photobombing fan and be completely happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, and then there are a few people who said, "Oh my God, I would print that thing out and start getting it signed if that was me."
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the best. I don't even know if I'd really call it a photo bomb, because he had a row behind them. His seats weren't that much worse. He was sort of in the space, and granted, he wasn't a part of the photo, but he kind of made himself a part of the photo. It's about as good of a photo bomb as you'll ever see, and I think there's really no argument against validity unless you're one of those weirdos that like, consent to matter in the combo hunting game, unlike me.
Consent is not needed in the combo hunting game.
That has to be added to the limited adults as far as like t-shirts that I want to make, but it's like
we can never make.
I know, yeah. One day I'm gonna walk around.
You're gonna walk around the con with a shirt that says "consent is not necessary." Just so you know, every time I laugh, it actually hurts. So this is not gonna be. I'm gonna be bruised and beaten by the end of this show already.
And let's let the record state that when you were going under the knife, that I think on that road trip to Jet Li, we discussed if you would have died, how would I have replaced you on this podcast?
It's true, and I had suggested just bringing on Steve full time, but you were not about that life.
I suggested sort of like a Carell-less office of like rotating like bosses, where you'd have a Greg, Linder class, sort of a menage a trois, if you will. Maybe at the same time, maybe not, and you just cycle them in and out. And again, consent not needed. I didn't clear this with any of these guys. I'm not sure if they would have had any interest in your demise. of doing this, but that was my idea.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I did not perish under the knife. Although maybe I did, and this is all some kind of purgatory that we're in right now, or some endless time warp or something. Maybe I did actually. I wouldn't know. Right?
We will record episode 97 from here until the end of eternity. That's it.
And then beyond. Yeah,
it's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah. But in any case, it was a cool photo op to see. A cool photo bomb. I don't have any like cool photo bombs in my own personal collection. Do you?
I don't think I do. As the photo bomber, CM Punk photo bombed my Edward James Olmos photo at Eternal Con pre-COVID, which was totally valid. He was like next to us. It wasn't even like he was set back.
He totally did it on purpose too.
Yeah, he leaned in and looked in the frame, which is pretty funny. So that's pretty funny. And I also, when I was taking my selfie with John David Washington, his brother Malcolm, and Danielle Deadweiler photobombed the back of my selfie. So I have one Washington brother and an actress. But I've never been the photobomber, which I feel like I have to fix that. I got to photobomb someone now in a cool way.
Yeah, right. Let's take action on that. So anyway, what else do we have on the board? So my favorite post of the week, honestly, was by Tyler. And you actually missed this on the first go round, but I thought it was great. He went to see Jean Cruguet, who was a Kentucky Derby jockey, I believe he won the Kentucky Derby. But in any case, it was the way he described it was some kind of party or barbecue or something, a barn party. It was some term that I didn't know what the hell it meant. Something that was definitely a regional thing that was not from my region.
I've never attended a barn party, but go on.
But apparently no one there knew that Jean Cruguet was attending, and no one knew that he was going to do a meet and greet. And so Tyler and his wife were actually the only people who were there for this meet and greet, and were the only people who were there with items and whatnot. So he ended up getting like 7 items done or something. But it sparked a whole conversation and kind of went viral as to these other meet and greets and other events where no one showed up. Have you ever been to an event where no one showed up?
I mean, we've paid for an event that no one showed up to, just about. That's the most unfortunate of all. But just before we get into our personal tale, I too, when I finally caught up, enjoyed Tyler's post. I kind of wonder if Jean Cruguet even knew himself that there was going to be a meet and greet. But he seemed super cool. I liked how his wife sort of laid out all the items on just like an empty table, like preemptively.
It's good to have a wingman. It's good to have a wingman when combo hunting. It really is.
So that was great. I guess if you want to get these one-on-one meet and greets, you gotta go to a barn party. I guess that kind of helps. And our one-on-one meet and greet was VSK, and we probably should have brought him to a damn barn instead of the con. At least maybe we could have had him bale some hay or something. We could have made some of the money back. Yeah, it's true. We brought him to the Wrestle Bash in New Jersey, and he had one paying customer the whole day who was actually a pre-order, which means not a single walk-up. He sat there alone all day long. And that pre-order walked up. I remember it was like the first 10 minutes of doors being open. And I remember
it was almost instantly. Yeah.
When you get those instant people coming, you start feeling good, especially when it's one of the talents that you're not fully convinced in, like being a hit. And you're like, okay, look, I'm vindicated here. Here we go. We're moving. Fans are going to see them being in demand, and being in demand matters because FOMO is a real thing in this hobby. But I guess not enough. Or maybe everyone missed that 8 seconds of him being in demand.
Yeah, so that was a hard one to be honest. That was a hard one to sit through. He was a lonely Virgil sitting next to us all day long. And the worst part about it was, we got our pieces done because there was nothing else to do. And at some point he was like, "What else do you need me to sign?" And you want to rip shingles off the roof and have him sign those because there was nothing else to sign. Yeah. There was nothing else to do. And so he just sat there alone
And
all
thank
day
God,
long.
this was one of my bad ideas. I had a couple bad ideas. Tiara James virtual signing, bad idea. I take full credit for. And VSK, I really thought, since at that point he was AEW, he was TNA. I'm like, he's local, he's a drive-in. I'm like, how could you lose? A couple $100? And I talked you into not a 1-show deal, but a 2-show deal, which luckily we canceled the other date prior to this one.
Thank
And
God.
oh my God, can you imagine sitting through this appearance and then having to do it again? And let me just stipulate, Vinny was an awesome guy. This is nothing against him as a person. If he was at a barbecue and we were sitting there, that's fine, whatever. It's just the idea that you're paying this person with the idea of making money, and there was no money to be made. That's the problem.
Oh yeah, and to make matters worse, I mean, we sold, I believe it was one photo op as a pre-order for like $15 or something ridiculous, and we got him to sign all these things. I don't believe we've actually sold a single one of his prints since then.
No. I still kind of feel like the major marks were doing. So I think there was a party up at Kowloon's, one of those like major meetups, whatever the hell they're called. I would like to think the absence of major marks, the major marks would have made Vinny a hit. I don't really believe that, but I kind of that gets me to sleep at night when this crosses my mind. That was the flaw in my calculation. I did not realize there would be a major mark live podcast that weekend.
Yeah, that's when booking. I think that at least that moment kind of made us realize that offering people guarantees most of the time is just not worth it. There has to be a really, really, really compelling reason to offer someone a guarantee. If someone's gonna draw, let them draw, man. And then split money with them. If they can draw, they'll draw. So a lot of these wrestlers who they balk on doing a split. The reason why they balk on doing a split is they know they can't draw. So that's if someone draws, they'll happily do a revenue share of some kind because they know they make money.
Yeah, the ones that don't want to, like you said, they want to be the ones that make money. They know that you're splitting. If you go split a ham sandwich, all you got is half a ham sandwich. The guarantee is a lot more appealing when they know they're not really worth what they're getting.
So in any case, Tyler's report was awesome. Looks like Jean Kruger gave him everything in the kitchen sink pretty much for free, and free is always wonderful. Although he did not specify how much it cost to get into the barn party, so I'm not sure. But I like Tyler's posts generally because he just posts stuff that no one else does. He does a lot of these other kind of horse racing kind of things and stuff that I know nothing about, or I don't know anything about that stuff, so it's neat to see other things.
And he also gives a good story, which we were talking about off air, and I want to just throw this out there, not in a lack of appreciation, because I really, truly appreciate all the engagement we get, but there are some of the newer people now that post reports, and it's like they don't really post any detail, any story. It doesn't have to be a Linder-esque, like really well-written like novel where you're getting chock full of details. If you gave 3-4 sentences, sometimes it would at least give you something to sort of chew on. And the people that post reports without any detail, they really don't get the engagement. Other people will get, hundreds and thousands of engagements, and those don't, because I mean, our community is a discerning sort of eagle-eyed. They want well-written stuff. So if you are, it doesn't have to be big, but just try to give a couple sentences just so we can sort of enjoy your experience in a more full way.
Right. And because I think what matters to this community as compared to others, we don't care necessarily for you to show off what you got. We care to live vicariously through the experience and to share our experiences. It's just different. That's what makes the Marked Out community different from some of the other communities where you just, a lot of the other communities, you post a photo of yourself with so-and-so, no comment needed. Like the dude, it was a cool picture, but the dude who got The Rock WrestleMania weekend, he just posted a picture with no comment. And then it's like other people were guessing, was this in New York? Was this in Philly? Where was this? And it's like, just say what the story was. It makes it more interesting.
That one went pretty big. That one had a good reach, but
it annoyed me. It annoyed me. I want to know the story. Otherwise, put it somewhere else.
But don't give too much story because then you're blowing spots. So you got to mention hippos and
Right.
all that.
There's
good
a way
stuff.
to do it. Do it the right way.
Agreed.
Speaking
of doing it the right way.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So you posted the video from KenCon 2.
I did.
And in it was, I have to say, watching your interaction with Ray Apollo was agonizing. I was in the hospital bed watching this video and I was cringing. And then the nurses came running in. They thought something was wrong because I was cringing so hard that when it made the monitors go off. That's a lie. But I was cringing at the whole interaction. It was absolutely baffling. You tell me, watching that video, that makes you feel good?
I mean, none of these videos make me feel good. I just post them for the engagement.
But in retrospect, like walking through that encounter, reliving that encounter, you go, "Oh yeah, that was a fun time." You weren't like cringing, in the moment.
I wasn't cringing, but again, most of these encounters are not insanely fun because, especially with the camera rolling, I feel some level of pressure to like engage in conversation. And I really don't want to in these, there's nothing interesting to me. And I always feel like you start talking to people, they mess up. I just wanted the crap signed, and I stand by it. I stand by it.
The first thing was you put the figure down.
I did.
And you handed Ray Apollo a blue Posca, that light blue Posca. That's that nice one, right? And you tell him where to sign, and
on his chest.
Well, no, that's the second one. You said your chest. The first one you didn't say that. You just said you sign here, and he looked at you quizzically because he thought it wasn't gonna
show up,
be visible. And you said no, it'll pop, and he just took you at your word, and he signed it. And then the second one, you put the figure down. And you said on your chest over here, and it was not his chest. It was Matt Bourne's chest. It was not his, which made me die inside a lot. And then Eric Sims, you realize it was so awkward that even Eric Sims hesitated to sell you something that was invalid. Do you realize that?
He didn't hesitate to sell me. He already took the money. So there was no hesitation. Eric Sims will not hesitate. He would have been a perfect booth at the toll booths. Eric Sims will take money in any situation. He is the last living carny, basically. He told me after the sale was made, and again, he's also a listener of the show. So Eric Sims is aware, I think, of this whole discussion we've had, and he was trying to be, he's a personality. I'm going to choose to think it was that, and not just him realizing that something incorrect was going down. But in any case, I stand by it. It's better than the alternative to me. If I tried to sell it, which I wouldn't, it's not like I ruined the value. I'm sure it would sell at the same basic price I paid. Maybe I wouldn't get the autograph value back, but it's whatever. I'm happy with it for now. One day, perhaps I'll add a Matt Bourne piece from the Hasbro line to my collection.
Yeah, it's just agonizing because I know, and I stand by my comment on the video, which was, this was a compulsive need to get ink on something. That's all it is. Like, you had this item without ink on it, so you had to get ink on it, despite the fact that it's the wrong ink.
Here's the reality. Yes, partly yes. But I had this item only to get ink on it. My current rules are, if I buy a Hasbro, it's to have it signed. I wouldn't. But
why would you buy it knowing that you couldn't get it done correctly?
Because
why buy it at all?
In my era, I use this figure as all facets of Doink. I don't see it. I don't see it as a heel Doink in and of itself. That's not how I used it. To me, it's the character of Doink. It doesn't really matter. That's how I view it. I understand I couldn't really defend it by the Class 316 code of standards here. I know that. But for me, it doesn't really matter. I think the ideal situation would be I would want one signed by both. Maybe not the same one, but if I got a Matt Bourne, I don't think I would sell this one. I think this one is important, even though it's not the right.
When I had the classic Superstars Doink,
that was Ray Apollo, I believe, right? One of them was. The later one was heel Doink. The later one was Bourne. And so the later one I got signed by Bourne only. The original Doink one I got signed by both. Wait, really?
I did have.
Isn't that just as bad as what I just did?
No, because how would you?
Why not?
No, because
he's not pictured on it. But
he's not pictured on it.
what was the gear though? Wasn't the gear like heel gear? Was that gear Apollo wore?
There were two doinks. One was the heel gear. One was the heel / face gear. There were two different figures. So the heel gear was just it was Bourne. I got Bourne to sign it. But then there was one where because Bourne didn't wear just one gear. He wore a couple different ones.
I'm looking at them right now. Yeah, I don't know, man. Was this gear worn by both? The one that you got signed by both?
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah. I sold it in any case. But I feel like I got a decent amount for it too because it was after Bourne had died. But I don't remember. Truthfully, that was when I was selling everything. So
the lack of a picture makes it better. It's an easier sell, but I think at its core, it's not much better than what I did. A little better.
It's infinitely. But when you said signed it across your chest, then you pointed to a person that was not him. You were unfazed by that. It was fascinating to watch. Fascinating. Because I said he died a little inside, taking credit for someone else's work.
Listen, I'm not sure if Ray Apollo has any room to die a little. I think if he dies a little, he dies a lot. He didn't look great. Through the clown makeup, of course. It's hard to judge the health of a clown. I mean, you can't really assess the usual stuff, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. We didn't discuss putting this next one up. I don't know if we want to. Do you want to trash someone publicly like that or no? Because we didn't say anything in the comments.
I don't know. Are we trashing them publicly? I think
kind of. We never really said. I mean, I don't know.
Let's run with it. We're not going to trash them. What's the deal in a community like this when someone as a fan comes on and shows something off that is fake? Like this is not the disqualified group where we sort of exist to sort of tell people and give advice and a user yesterday posted a Hulk Hogan Ric Flair piece, and I think the Hulk Hogan autograph, he has one that faded, and then he has the cut in the frame piece.
So the faded one was real.
I couldn't see it well enough, but those two stickers were one of those bargain basement, the 3-star authentic. They don't look terrible, but those stickers would make me question my own mother's signature if they were on it. And that cut was
fake. The cut was a Linda. Yeah.
And we didn't talk, I'm not naming the person by name. I'm not trying to publicly shame, but it's always, I don't know what we're supposed to do as a community. Are we supposed to be hey, that thing you're showing off is fake? And just be as you would say,
quietly delete those posts?
I don't know.
Do we quietly just delete? I know it is a real question. I would love for the regular users to sound off.
Yeah, what's the right move
like this? How should we proceed?
Yeah, how as a welcoming, helpful, inclusive community, how should we handle something like that? I don't know. I really don't. And I think the rest of the community was in our boat because it had 1 like and no comments. I think everyone kind of had that same thought. So please sound off on the show, not on his post, of course, but sound off on the show graphic without adding him. And I don't know. And let us know how to handle this better next time.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure how to handle it. We were kind of texting back and forth. Where as soon as I saw it went up, I'm like, that's a Linda, isn't it? Because Linda, the H's look a very specific kind of way.
And the flow is a very specific way.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not sure what to do with that. Still, it's hanging out there with no likes or comments, just sort of hanging in the ether. In other news, media mogul Ted Turner has died. We probably should have led with that, but Ted was apparently known for being a pretty good through the mail signer. Lots of our people got him through the mail. I didn't even think that was it's so funny. It never occurred to me in my life to mail stuff away to get signed. I just never done it. I don't know.
I did as a kid with baseball cards.
Did you get any back? Is it?
I did. Craig Biggio, Long Island native and Hall of Famer, he returned. It was good. Rafael Palmeiro did pre-signed return. That I think at the age of 13 at that point, I wasn't really sure I didn't know what pre-signed really was. I think I kind of thought it was real. And then later in life, I looked at it, I'm yeah, this is a pre-sign. So that wasn't real. Nothing incredible. I never really went heavy on it. I believe Vinny, he may have posted again. I'm not sure, but I think Vinny actually sent off 8x10s to Ted Turner.
It's in Wicked Ink Wednesday.
Oh, he did. I know I saw it recently. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, but he. Yeah, I don't want to skip ahead. Yeah, we'll get to that in a few. But yeah,
But yeah, Class 316 posted a throwback report of himself meeting Ted Turner.
and not just himself. He apparently had another wheelchair-bound autograph collector nicknamed Wheels, which I guess is slightly better than Jason's full nickname, which I won't put on this show because you'll get mad at me.
I will.
Yeah. But I don't know how. Class is either the greatest human alive, that he doesn't see any sort of limitations in people and just helps them get combos. I don't know, or he is sort of a vulture that finds the lamest of lame ducks sort of in a community filled with lame ducks and brings these people with him to sort of get better access to combos. I suppose maybe both of those things can be true, where his greed and desire for better access also yields people with limited abilities to get around a ride and I guess a friend to sort of help them through the process.
Yeah, I just it never it like whenever I think, can I still be surprised by Steve, or can I still do I still find this funny? The answer is always yes. I find him to be such a fascinating creature.
I hope when his car breaks, that his next car should just be like an ambulette. He could have it like the combo hunting mobile, and he could lift all his friends up with the hydraulics, get them in, and
maybe honestly, with the con business being what it is, maybe there's a market as for like disability transportation services to cons.
Honestly, there would be, because I mean, if we took out the disabled from the cons, or the fake disabled from
I was going to say
80%
of the people, 80% of the people attending these cons are either disabled or pretending to be disabled. I mean, yeah. Jesus, how many people did we see pretending to be disabled at Jet Li?
And I think the other 20% are disabled people in denial about being disabled. So I mean,
true. We damn near 100% disability right here.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But yeah. So anyway, and not only was this man Wheels in a wheelchair, but he also apparently died as well.
Is Class like the Kevorkian of cons, the con Kevorkian, where once these people have like done enough in the hobby, he just kills them? Like, I don't know.
He releases them from the mortal coil.
Yes.
He releases them from the burden of life.
You cannot suffer anymore. I will free you. And he suffocates them in the car. I don't know.
But it was a kind of a funny story of him meeting Ted Turner and getting the op and getting the graph, and of course he had to awkwardly talk about WCW as if Ted Turner really gave a crap about anything like that.
I also loved him being aware enough, because for all of Class's flaws, he is on a good day slightly self-aware, and he remarked how Ted Turner like glanced at him from like a side angle with complete disgust and just hatred in his eyes for Class, and Class was aware of that, undeterred, but I mean aware.
Sure. Well, at the end of the day, the combo trumps all. It doesn't matter what someone thinks, as long as they provide what the drugs that one needs. Right?
I wish I could say I disagreed with that, but yeah, that is true.
And then the last bit of board engagement that I thought was funny, Mr. Pop and Twist, he posted an idea for a 2030 con, and he did admit that it really doesn't have any legs. This is never going to go anywhere, but it is an interesting idea. What if we did a throwback type of con with throwback pricing? Do you think there would be any traction? Do you think you'd get guests to attend a con where they were restricted in their ability to charge?
I don't think they would. And I think it's definitely better from a fan perspective than a talent perspective, because what you'd be selling to talent essentially would be, if you work twice as hard, you will make as much as you typically make at a con working half as hard. And I don't think that's really appealing unless someone's in the market to really be giving back to the community. I don't really think that would work, but I do like the sort of play on the 2030 concept. And I think there's definitely an argument for some people being in a position where they could do better business charging less. I don't know if 2030 would work, But I mean, honestly, it might work on the fringe kind of guests that really do no business now at this new price scale. 2030, maybe they would actually get back to, they'd sort of find their stream again.
I think there's absolutely a way to do this. What if maybe, like, first of all, I don't think that they'd be working twice as hard for the same. I mean, that's a little bit ridiculous. But maybe there's a way to do it so that, like, they would only sign 8x10s or something like that. They wouldn't do, figures or other. So in other words, there's no way to, like, bulk out or anything.
Yeah, the vultures, vultures like us would take advantage of this, and, like, it wouldn't. That would be the flaw in the problem. And just
right, so I'm just wondering if there's a way to do it on that level.
It's fascinating. It is. And just I didn't even plan on saying this until now. A random pop and twist bit of news. Not really news. It's a little anecdote. I was at my local Burger King not long ago, and it turns out the manager of Burger King is a balloon balloon artist. I guess that's what they're referred to. And I kind of name drop Pop and Twist. I'm like,
no, you did not.
Balloons. I did. I'm like, speaking of balloons, I know a guy, he's kind of big in the balloon industry. He's like, oh, what's his name? And I said, Mr. Pop and Twist. And he never heard of Mr. Pop and Twist. But I was explaining to him how Pop and Twist does all these, like, cons. And he has tables at these big events. And he's like, all I really do is, like, birthday parties. So Pop and Twist, I think, is on a level
I was going to say he's probably at a much higher level than this chump, this Burger King chump doing birthday parties.
I couldn't believe I was having this, like, balloon art conversation at Burger King. It was weird.
Now, you had to initiate this conversation, which is psychotic to me. The premise that you're initiating a conversation about balloons or about anything with the manager of Burger King. You would have to hold me at knife point to have a conversation with a manager of Burger King. And here you are voluntarily doing it.
Well, I'm up there waiting for I go there enough because I don't think the users, the listeners need to hear this. But what I do, I like, as much as my healthy living is a real thing, and I'm trying my damnedest here. I'm down like 15 pounds now. I still like my little bit of ice cream at night. That's my guilty pleasure. And what I do is I'll buy like 6 to 8 of the soft serve ice cream cups at Burger King, and I freeze them. And then I put them in the microwave for about 14 seconds, exactly 14 seconds. And it sort of brings it back to a soft serve texture. So I'm in there, every other week, basically buying ice cream cups, which, I mean, is very normal. And he was designing some, like, balloon art thing at the counter. And I was waiting for my ice cream. And I've seen this guy now for months and months and months. So, like, I kind of know him in a weird way. And I made a joke. I'm like, I hope Burger King provided you with, like, a tutorial of how the hell to do this. And then he started telling me how, like, he did balloon art for years. And then, I mean, if you're in this situation, how would you not name drop Pop and Twist?
I would find a way.
Well, I did. And, this is probably the longest Pop and Twist segment we've ever done. So, I mean, Pop and Twist, when I have a child and I want balloon art at a party, I expect a friend and family rate now for this whole segment I gave you.
But he just doesn't do, like, he's just not going to do an art for it. He'll have to do, like, a representation of the child dressed as Doink or something. Like, it's like something wild. He does above and beyond with these people.
That is true. I'd have to book Doink at the birthday party to make this happen, I guess. The real Doink, by the way, Ray Apollo.
This real. I gotta say, because we have noticed, what's his face, that unlimited adult, Dylan has been frantically trying to get back into, like, relevance. It's actually very sad watching this individual out there. Like, maybe I was naive in thinking that he was going to try and escape gracefully, and that people were going to that just sort of leaving him alone will bring him some peace. I don't know, man. Have you seen any of his recent content?
No, because I think even when we were getting along, I think he still had me blocked from when I called him out for the Lex Luger thing, like, years ago. So, like, I don't see a lot of his content.
it's just he's just a sad individual. Like, I know people get angry with him. I have a very hard time getting angry with someone who's like limited in that way. I just sort of just shake my head and wonder like what the people around them do, like how the people around them advise them and manage them and like shape their world. Because I think, it's important that when you have someone in your care who needs additional support as an adult, that you like properly support them. And it's very clear he's not being properly supported. And
his big flaw, and I don't want to take this deeper than this because it's not what we plan to talk about. But his biggest flaw, and a lot of the vendors have had this problem, where he thinks like heat is a good thing, and like, yes, you watched wrestling, yes, you understand, and in his case, he's like born into the wrestling business. His father's a wrestler. I don't want to diminish that, but you're not taking bumps professionally. That's not your role in society. And as a vendor, as a businessman, having fans like cursing your existence it's not something you should covet. And I think he sort of makes enough bad decisions where that's what happens. And now he's sort of convinced himself that any talk is good talk, and it's controversy creates cash and all that. And as a businessman, I don't know if controversy creates cash. Controversy makes people afraid to give you their money, and you want the opposite of controversy as a businessman. To me, I think that's the biggest flaw.
Well, at the end of the day, you sort of more bigger picture. I mean, I agree with all of what you said is definitely true. But like bigger picture, everyone in this world, I don't care who you are, everyone in this world wants to be on some level like seen. They want their existence validated. They want to make it seem like they're worth something. That they're not worth nothing in this world. That they if they died tomorrow, someone would care. And I understand that. And there are ways of doing that healthily, and there are ways of doing that unhealthily. And he very much unhealthily pursues this being seen, being noticed. And it's a very sad thing, because it is, I believe, a consequence of this sort of awful business, this wrestling business, where so many people are seen for all the wrong reasons, and they're just as a result, they don't know how to like healthily interact with other people. He's just a disturbed person, and it's just I don't know how to like, because he is limited, and I think that the people around him should like quietly no, just go, don't do that, that's not right, but no one does. So he just continues to make himself look like a crazy person in public, but it's fine. Whatever. We didn't really. We got a funny interview out of it where we talked in circles for an hour and a half. That was pretty much it. So in other news, the only report that you and I have for this week for ourselves is Jet Li. And let's talk about it, because you posted the video of I think the Jet Li video, that might be the funniest video that we've ever posted. Am I crazy for thinking that?
No, it was. As always, I'm trying to sort of find my pocket as far as like how you put these videos together. You have the straight up signing videos, and you have the sort of the marked out radio content of like us, and like seeing how we like navigate, and the people that navigate these shows. And I think it was a great combination of you just being miserable to be there, you also shopping for oranges. I think it really, keeping it within the algorithm sweet spot that we needed it really, like, if we watch that back in 10 years, I think that's going to bring us back to that afternoon. Like, it really captured most of our day. Sadly, I didn't capture any of the content that followed after, which we will get into, because that was entertaining in and of itself. But it was a good video. People seemed no one really commented about you being miserable to be there. They were upset about you selling the book. That pissed people off more than you just not really wanting to be there, yet being there.
Well, yeah, I just, it's hard to explain. I mean, to be fair, I wasn't like overtly miserable in the video,
No.
I
was forcing it out of you, and you still were kind of, you complimented it running smoothly and fast, and you were kind of, I guess, giving it props.
Well, it was true that I was excited to that Stop and Shop had. But we parked at Stop and Shop, and there was probably no reason to park at Stop and Shop. We probably could have parked at the bookstore just fine. But in parking at Stop and Shop, I had to go in and see if they had a fresh delivery of Sumo Citrus Mandarins. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and plug this product. If you have never had a Sumo Citrus Mandarin, then you're a fool and you're missing out, because there's really nothing that they're very expensive. They're a premium product, a premium item. But if you've never had a Sumo Citrus Mandarin, you're really missing out, because they're exquisite. And Stop and Shop had a fresh delivery of these Sumo Mandarins, and as you saw it firsthand, I was very excited at this fresh delivery.
You were dropping lemons. You were so excited. I'm not sure how you fit that many Sumo. What was the word? Sumo what?
Well, the brand is Sumo Citrus, and they are mandarins, not oranges, technically, even though they're gigantic.
Yeah, you fit a lot in that bag, and it honestly gave you a bit of a smile when you were pretty distraught. Like I picked you up. Let me paint the scene for you guys. The day of this signing was Teacher Appreciation. It was the Teacher Appreciation Week, but it was one of my favorite days of the year, which is when Chick-fil-A gives out free sandwiches to teachers. So I, of course, hit 3 Chick-fil-A's on my way to you, which is why I was like 10 minutes late.
It was more like 20 minutes late, but yeah.
To gather my free sandwiches. So I had my free sandwiches. The car reeked like the grilled chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A. Cheap plug. Look at that. You gave a plug to the oranges. I'm giving Chick-fil-A one. And
wait, just pause. How much does a Chick-fil-A sandwich cost if you were to pay for it?
It's like $8.
No, it's $8 for a sandwich like that?
I'll open my app. Don't
That's
test me on app food prices. The grilled is more expensive than the classic. Let's see. I'm looking right now.
No combo or anything, just the sandwich.
Grilled chicken sandwich, $7.49. Nothing else.
First of all, if you pay $7.49 for that, that's outrageous pricing. But secondly, I feel like you had to have wasted gas and whatnot.
I did not. These were right. I hit the one in Farmingville, which was maybe I went off the LIE, picked it up, and right back on the LIE. The other one was the one over by Eisenhower Park, which was maybe a mile or two out of the way. I definitely came out in the green. Granted, it was insane. Granted, all these things. Granted, I ended up driving over a board with a nail in it.
And while a new tire,
yeah, while chasing after these free sandwiches, which I mean, I can't necessarily blame the sandwiches, but I don't think I would have been on that part of highway if not for the sandwiches. So that was part of it. So I pick you up 20 minutes late. We stop and get gas. You watched me with horror as I tied my windshield wiper in a knot because it
both windshield wipers. So both windshield wipers were flooded. They were shredded, and rather than just first, This is what I mean by having this is the things that the way that you navigate certain things is fascinating, because you tied them on and you said, well, I have my inspection soon. And I'm like, yeah, but what does that have to do with anything? You said, well, when I do the inspection, they'll just change it. And I said, yeah, but you'll end up paying top dollar at a place that does the inspection instead of just going to AutoZone and paying like $10 and getting one and just doing it yourself. And that was not even in the realm of possibility.
No, and I'll be honest, the dealer charged me less. When I had the tire replaced, I asked the woman at the counter, I'm like, how much just to put the new ones on and call it a day? And it's bad when the woman at the store is like, no, trust me, it's too expensive here. Go somewhere else. And then I popped into Pep Boys, and they were even more expensive than Mavis. So I'm going to have to do what you said, I guess, because it's like I'm not paying $80-$90 to do these. That's crazy.
No, it's like $10-$15 to do the windshield wipers at AutoZone. Or order them on Amazon. You put your make and model of your car, put it in, it'll get there in a day, and then you pop them on. It's the easiest thing ever, and you act like I don't know. It's very strange. The way you deal with cars in general, which we'll get to at the end of this, is baffling. But I got my oranges. We go in line for Jet Li. We couldn't help but notice that the Jet Li the signing was supposed to start at 6, but they started it at 5, which is wonderful.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. They started it at 5. You had the ADA people that were inside, and typically the ADA people get standing photos in a world where we're leaning against the table. They benefit the people that have the needs, and the people that just are, I guess, savvy enough to sort of capitalize on the opportunity. And this time he was still sitting at a table, but it was like a lower, more awkward table. So I think, honestly, the people that genuinely couldn't get downstairs physically were fine. They were happy. They got their photo. Anyone that thought they were going to get a better photo as a result of sort of riding the ADA wave probably is not super satisfied with that decision. Because I think without any sort of variation, the downstairs photos looked better than the upstairs. Yours especially, because you kind of like horseshoed around the corner of the desk.
Absolutely did. I have no shame. Yeah.
You were like right next to him. So you actually like really bucked the system. I was too busy recording. I didn't notice what you did until after. So I didn't follow suit. But, I mean, as such a massive Jet Li fan, I can definitely live with my photo quality.
Yeah, I did derive a certain satisfaction in knowing that the ADA photo ops were worse than ours, because whatever, not to belabor this point, which we belabored it multiple times, but there were people really just moving through because they didn't want to wait in line. So the fact that they got a worse photo op, it tickles me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. So it was enjoyable. But I thought, overall, it was weird that we had to wait in a line to get our book first. Usually at bookends, you just kind of walk right in and get your book. But it was smooth sailing. We were done by like 6:55. We rolled up at 6 on the nose, pretty much. So an hour with a line that long, he was absolutely flying through these people, and I appreciate that attention to process. Let's just move it along. There was not even an attempt at life stories, and I enjoyed that. And maybe some of that was language barrier related stuff. If so, I'm going to seek out more non-English speaking combo hunts for this reason. If people can't tell their life stories, that's delightful.
Yeah, I'll take it. It moved well. It was hot down there. Like I guess it always is, but I never remember suffering. Maybe we usually go in the fall and the winter months. I don't know, but it was bad. It was really hot down there. That must be a thing that I just don't go enough to sort of be aware of. It wasn't great. We left the store. You listed your book from the pizzeria where we got dinner. And I, at that point, was still sort of chewing with the idea. I'm like, should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I? And I ended up doing it a couple days later, and it sold in like 20 minutes. So that was good. We hoofed it back towards our car at Stop and Shop. We saw all the people sort of hippoing, awaiting the exit, which I saw a video after the fact. I think Jeremy Schwartz, friend of the show, posted his video. And Jet Li did not take any sort of time for the fans outside. And I don't really mean that in a judgmental way. He was there with his daughters.
Fair, that crowd got kind of big.
Yeah. I don't really expect him to in that situation. You're talking 25 people, perhaps. They had boards and whatnot. It was not too different from the scene we saw at the airport. I would say the crowd was a little bit less mobile, which may just mean they were less mobile, or it may mean they were a little more respectful, and Jet had less room to walk, so you really couldn't follow him. And it was kind of a blank ski right there. And we reached the car back at Stop and Shop, and what did we discover?
Well, right, and you give me the look on your face. I'm not gonna lie, in the moment it pissed me off, because you give this look like, oh, my. You go, I have a flat tire. I'm like, what do you mean? How you have a flat tire? And you, because it wasn't like, oh, it was a shock. It was like, I ran over a board with a nail in it on the way here. And I just kind of like let it rock.
I mean, what was I going to do in that point? Like,
well, so then I started asking questions, and this is the part that it gets annoying for me, because I'm like, well, do you have in your trunk, like people were supposed to? Do you have in your trunk like a tire inflation, device, like one you could plug into your cigarette outlet? No. Okay. Do you have a AAA membership? No. Do you have quarters? No. So this point, I'm getting like, so you just walk out of the house totally unprepared for any kind of automobile related situation.
Pretty much. I just hope for the best.
And so then I was able to, because thankfully I had, and then you didn't have any cash on you at all, like literally $0 in cash.
You had a bunch of cash, and I had the idea to try to avoid a credit card fee, which the guy at the register was like, "Oh, it's fine, don't worry about it." I had you pay for my pizza with your last remaining singles, and I just Apple paid you the cash, figuring who needs cash, right?
Well, then luckily we went to the gas station. The guy broke a 10 for me, thankfully, and gave some quarters, and we were able to inflate your tire enough to get you back. Yeah, but I mean that's like you gotta have one of those. You gotta have one of those tire pumps in your car.
I didn't buy it yet, but I will by the next time that we're going somewhere. I'm gonna buy it in the next couple of days.
So they sell the one.
Agree.
It's a battery jumper pack / tire inflator in the same unit, and that's what you need. You need both things. This way, you can if your battery dies or you got a flat tire, you're able to at least do that with minimal interruption. It's not even expensive. It's like $75.
No, I agree. It would have made my life a lot easier when I'm the next time I'm chasing free sandwiches and drive over boards with nails in it while going to meet a Chinese film star. It'll put me in a much safer position.
But all in all, it was a successful endeavor somehow, and I was in surgery by 6 a.m. the next day. So I really, when I say I really was combo hunting down to the wire. What time we get back from Jet Li? I think 9 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah, for you 9. For me, I got back to around 10.
And so yeah, and so
the great thing is, it wasn't just us. David Din, our user, shared his experience. He got there on the early side. So he sort of gave us the opposite to our experience, where he sort of watched the line grow a little bit, and he was one of the first ones inside. That was great. Bobby Sherry, friend of the show, was there as well. IVP Chris, the man who coined Hippo, marked out original member and all-around great guy. He was there as well. Making the Tuesday trip up from Maryland. Now that is an offering to the combo gods. IVP Chris is in hopefully good standing now with the gods, and as you normally see, Zach Chiara is everywhere, getting everything, and has a hell of a collection. He was there as well. Yeah, and so that's who and we saw other people, but if you don't post, you don't get named. And so those are the people who posted their experiences. And I mean, I think everyone said they had a good time with Jet Li. He was good. I'll tell you, for someone who doesn't really do public appearances, he was a pro at this thing. Yeah, he really should look into conventions because he would make very good money. And he really like got it. He was nice enough, but he didn't have people feeling like they could stand there and drool all over his table for 20 minutes. He kept it moving. It was good, really good. And so, speaking of Zach Chiara, who was at the Jet Li signing, he apparently was also at the Jamie Lynn Sigler signing the same day, like an hour earlier, up the block. So I didn't even know that was happening. Did you? I did not. I got her many years ago. Had I known, I may have actually tried to like float to you, like, let's go a little earlier and like do both. Because I mean, I'll take an extra photo for the price of a book usually if you're right there already. But no big loss. And the one that kind of was a loss, I didn't see it until Mike Simon texted it to me that day. The day before Jet Li, you had Cedric the Entertainer and Anthony Anderson appearing with some like Husky Man's Guide to Barbecue. And I guess I guess Anthony Anderson's still considered husky. He lost a lot of weight. He kind of has like that Al Sharpton like bobblehead kind of look still, where his head just looks too big for his body. But he was there with Cedric, and I have him luckily, but I need Cedric. And I really was close to going. I was like really toying with the idea until my family was like, you're out of your mind. Like, you're going to race there now at like, 4 p.m., 3:30, whatever the hell time it was. It's like, you're never going to get there. And I need Anthony Anderson for Law and Order, You got to fish that coffee table book out of the mold. Yeah, it's annoying. That's annoying. I do need to do that at some point. But
in any case, that would have been a good one to go to. Alas, it did not occur for either of us. There were some other book events. So Gary went to, and this was on our radar, but we made the decision not to go. Gary went to the Goldie Hawn book event. And like we had suspected, the books were pre-signed and there were no photo ops. So there was really Gary didn't get anything beyond the book, and he got, to listen to Goldie yap. But word on the street was, if you were at the venue before she got there, she did do photos on the way in.
Yeah, that was going to be my play. I sensed it was not going to be a successful photo inside. I was going to go and not even buy a ticket and just try outside. But going out, and it's like that's sort of in your neck of the woods, having to go South Shore, and it's an ordeal. If this was somewhere North Shore, I would have been a lot more game to take the spin. I didn't go. Yeah.
So what school was it at?
I think it was Malloy, wasn't it? Isn't that down by you more so?
I mean, I would say the issue is when you say north, I mean, the North Shore of Suffolk County is so much further north because the island narrows the more west you go. So it's not like it's because Malloy, it's not even on the South Shore, but I mean, it's still significantly south because the island just narrows. So, I'm on the south shore, but I mean, Malloy isn't, but it's still further south because of the actual distance. But either way, he got the signed children's book. What else we got here? Apparently, user Jerry, his kids' little league, they have they have like an event every year where they bring in a retired player, and this year was Mookie Wilson. So he got Mookie Wilson on some game tickets, and Mookie Wilson's a great guy. I've never heard a bad word once about Mookie Wilson. Everyone loves Mookie Wilson.
You haven't talked to Bill Buckner, but yeah, on a fan level, everyone loves Mookie Wilson. I like that as a little league organization that you bring in, these guys. I'm sure that they're probably not charging them top dollar because it's a little bit of a give back type of situation. You're at the little league. I think that's really cool how they make the little league opening day kind of, it's like a little special for the families involved. I like that.
Yeah, I think, it was very cool. The photos were cool. Mookie seemed to be in good spirits. It was a cool thing to see. A couple other reports. Chris Eastwood, he went to the Chicago premiere of Chili Finger, and he got Judy Greer on some Jurassic World stuff. That's pretty cool. And Vincent Rosa, he left his report from KenCon where he got Jerry Lawler. It seems like Jerry Lawler did pretty well at KenCon. Everyone who wrote a report about KenCon got Jerry Lawler.
Everyone is aware that, honestly, Jerry Lawler's had more strokes than wives. And that's saying something when it's Jerry Lawler. And, I mean, how many more can he have? And if you have stuff laying around or you just love the king, for good reason. I think you, honestly, I don't want to go in a wrestling talk discussion, but I think Jerry is one of the titans of the industry that is a bit lost in Kiss My Feet and Survivor Series with Little People and all these different things. I almost said something you would have had to bleep. And he's really one of the all-time greats that doesn't really get the same level of respect that he's viewed more for puppies and that type of stuff. And the fact that he's still with us and out there is kind of special.
Yeah, he's definitely an important historical figure. But I mean, let's face it, the Attitude Era just increased his visibility so much that look, the stuff for the Jerry thing that I want to talk about is, I mean, looking at Jerry's autograph now, post-stroke, it just looks very different from the autograph that I got years ago at Comic-Con. His autograph has changed. The flow has changed. The angle has changed. It's just changed. Which is, I mean, look, the brain is an interesting thing. It's a fascinating thing. It's kind of a marvel. I know I had posted that, and the little rat, he commented that Jerry had said that after his first stroke, he lost the ability to sign, and after the second stroke, he gained it back, which is interesting. But his autograph, his signature, is different now than it used to be, and that's fascinating to me.
It's still a good one, but yeah, it's different. If you did not know the story and you just had someone sort of show the Jerry Lawler autograph I got or that Vincent got, compared to the one that we would have gotten, 12 years ago, I would, without hesitating, say that the current ones are fake. I'd say they're, decent fakes, but fake. There's so many fundamental differences. And it's just the human brain being its intricate, enigma of a self. And that's what happens. And, it's a blessing he's still alive. It's a blessing he can, sort of wrangle a pen and make a signature. It's just different.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me. I feel like there's room there for like signature studies to be done on people who get brain injuries and seeing how their autographs, their signatures change over time. That's interesting to me. All right, we had Wicked Ink Wednesday again. A couple of really cool pieces. Chris Collector posted his full Sopranos cast piece after he had a signature fade and he had to get it redone.
That's nightmare. That's nightmare fuel, by the way. Like the one signature fades, the other ones don't. Like why? Why that one? Why not the other ones in a month? Like that's the type of stuff as an autograph collector that scares the hell out of me.
But that's like a Sharpie thing, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying like you have this. I imagine there's other Sharpies that were used on that piece, and I know I got stuff with Sharpies. It's like holy crap, it's scary.
It's really an argument for using paint in the future. It really is.
Yeah,
just as much as possible. Robert Quinn, he got Sally Field the other day, posted a great graph. And then finally Vin, he posted that 8x10 that had Hulk Hogan. The Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and Ted Turner on it. Which is a fantastic piece that is now complete. I mean, if it were 11x14, I would like it a lot more, but it's still a great looking shot.
And if there were 6 nipples on the print, Vin would like it a lot more.
Alas, there's not. Photo with Friday was pretty cool. Mr. Pop and Twist posted his shot with Greg Gunberg, who I liked from Heroes, but he's been in everything. He went on like a little bit of a con run for a minute, but he kind of took his foot off the gas in recent years. In honor of Mother's Day, 16 times Mark Miller, he posted his shot with Mary Tyler Moore and his mother together.
I think he should have pushed his mother out of the shot and just taken it solo.
Listen, take 2, one with your mother, one without. Why would you want your mother in the picture? Doesn't make any sense.
Stop shaming Mrs. Mama Times on the eve of Mother's Day.
And this one angered me. I have a really sick mind, but this one angered me. Antonio posted his shot with Anna Paquin. And like I've been pushing for Anna Paquin to do a con forever, and she's not. And she did one con in Pennsylvania, no less, in 2018. I guess Pennsylvania, especially Western Pennsylvania, was definitely not on my bingo card in 2018. So that was just a non-starter. And now I really wish I'd gone to get her.
No, I vaguely remember that. I need Anna Paquin. I know I got Stephen Moyer twice in the city at TV Weeks. And each year when he would come in, whatever, I forget what show he had at the time. It'll come to me later. It was on Fox. Every year I'm like, oh, maybe she'll come in. Because, I mean, why wouldn't you? You come with your spouse. You spend a couple days at a nice hotel in Manhattan. She never did. He's as nice as could be. And she's usually pretty nice, but she just never came. So I don't have her. I need her. And I hope she does more cons.
And yeah, what's funny though, so just so you know, Antonio, after you posted that, I went down the rabbit hole of trying to see what other cons she did. And I was like, what did Stephen Moyer ever do a con? Only to see that he did Creation Con last summer, the summer of 2025. I don't know how I missed that. I have a couple of big items that are just missing him, and they have pretty much everyone else on them from True Blood. So I'm kind of pissed that I missed that. So someone needs to bring in Stephen Moyer to a con already. It's bullshit.
I think, honestly, we just have blind spots for Creation. And, I mean, typically for good reason, but we have to do our due diligence to just sort of go through every month or two the different local lineups.
Yeah, I'm pissed because I really need Stephen Moyer. I have that Rolling Stone magazine with Anna Paquin and what's his face?
Bill Skarsgård.
Alex Skarsgård and Anna Paquin, and it's like, it's right there. It's the last one I need, and I've been sitting on that magazine for how many years already? When did we get Alex Skarsgård? 10 years ago.
More than that. It was like 2010. It's probably over 16, going on 20 years.
I've been sitting on this stupid magazine. It's like, enough. Let's go. And I'm pissed because he did a show last summer. I just didn't know. How is that like the one show that he did? Just let him get me started. I'm frustrated. I'm pissed that I discussed. So Antonio, thank you very much for making me, even though you did nothing, but you made me aware of this thing now that I missed, and it's gonna eat away at me a little bit. So that's good. All right, on to con news. The big event in New York this is for the November show, right?
Correct. They
added Darby Allin and Kane. I would say AEW champion Darby Allin, but let's be honest, there's no way he has that belt by November. But anyway, those are. Darby's stock has increased pretty dramatically, and Kane is Kane, so shaping up to be a good show already. High Spots announced a private signing with Shawn Michaels. It's a little bit pricey for me, $1.25 an item, and you're entertaining sending some stuff in.
Yeah, shout out to Scott Crossfire for sending this my way. It somehow didn't hit my algorithm. I didn't see it. I think I'm going to send in like 2 or 3. I think I am, because I have, and I know you mock me for it, but I really like the early to sort of mid-90s WWF magazine covers. That's like one of my things. And there's a couple Shawn Michaels covers from like 93, 95 that are just iconic to me.
Yeah, I can tell you like them, but you just keep them stored in a box.
Yes, I keep everything stored in a box. I mean, what the hell are you going to do? It is what it is. Anyway, so I'm going to send a couple of those, and I think because they're easy to they're easy to ship, they're not going to get damaged easily. If somehow they get lost, I mean, I'll survive. I can rebuy them. There's no sentimentality with them. I have my Rocker Hasbro 2-pack that you were telling me to send in, and honestly, you're probably correct about it, but it just
I for the life of me don't understand. But there's minimal. Again, Marty is alive. Marty is doing signings. The 2-pack is not that rare. You can replace it. With those factors, it's just going to become more and more and more difficult to complete. So you just get it done, and there's a 99% chance nothing goes wrong. But even if something goes wrong, you're out much less now than you would be in the future. It just doesn't make any sense to be so worried about it.
Well, my logic is that eventually, which with his ever-growing role in WWE, there probably is no eventually. But I keep thinking that eventually Tom will get him again for a big event, and I could just mosey on down to Brentwood and get all my like delicate stuff done.
Get all your nonsense done, the magazines and things done. But get this for the send-in. High Spots is good. They take care of your stuff. Like, what are you worried about?
The U.S. Postal Service and Gravity and Aging Glue. But
no, you got to just pack it correctly. You were being totally irrational. I said you make sure you stabilize the bubble using frog tape, and now you're worried about frog tape pulling. Frog tape doesn't pull. You know that.
Well, I'm working up to maybe I'll be able to do that, but I will be sending in my Series 1 Bone Cruncher, because I mean that's that collection is almost complete on the Series 1. I just need to find a signed razor at some point.
Good. You should really send the Series 1 Bone Cruncher to the dumpster where it belongs. But instead, you're going to spend $1.25. So what's your
$1.50 on the figure?
Oh, Jesus! So you're in for heavy damage on Shawn then.
I'll probably do. I'll probably do I'll do 3 items. I think 2 flat, 1 figure. I'll be in like $400, which is I guess heavy damage. But I mean I could. If you gave me a blank check right now, I could do $3,000 without blinking. The amount of stuff I have for Shawn. If I had endless money and endless nerve to send stuff, my full size 95 Rumble poster, I'm not even thinking about. There's a lot of things I'm not thinking about that I need. So,
and what's funny is while this is going on, there's also that you were taunting me about. Because I have been harassing the combo gods, really, for someone to bring in Clancy Brown, because he's one of the few names left I need on my Starship Troopers poster. So Clancy Brown needs to come out to a con. But instead, SWAU is doing a Clancy Brown private, and I refuse to send in a full-size poster. I want to say starting price is like 175. That's for a naked signature on a poster. That's ludicrous for a name like Clancy Brown. I'm not doing it. So, and I have no hesitation in saying no to that.
I don't blame you entirely, but I will say, I think if Clancy Brown comes out to a convention, the SpongeBob credit, plus that he actually has a rather legitimate film career, not a starring film career, but he's been in a lot of big things. I think his pricing would probably match or maybe even exceed Tom
He's not
Kenny.
going to be. Yeah, he'll be a
his
100.
His draw won't exceed Tom Kenny, but I think his price in person would be close to what, I think I agree with you, 190.
Yeah, but I refuse to drop $175 plus shipping a poster, a rolled poster, and dealing with all that. I'm just not doing it. I refuse.
I'm not so sure he'd be 100 an item on everything. I think there could be a little bit of an increase on full size and Funkos and stuff.
I don't know, but in any case, it's a non-starter for me because I'm not indulging in it. I refuse. It's frustrating that's my only avenue for Clancy Brown right now. But especially given now that Patrick Muldoon, I just got him on the poster, and now he's dead. Now, God, and it's bad enough that I can't get Marshall Bell again because Marshall Bell is in his 80s and isn't doing cons or hasn't done a con in a few years.
Imagine you lost this one, you have to start a third Starship Trooper.
Yeah, I would give up. I would just pretend the Starship Troopers didn't exist at that point. I'd give up. But what else we got? Steel City Con has added some names. They added Cheech and Chong, who had been pre-announced. They added Lou Graham, who'd also been pre-announced. They added JJ French and Eddie Ojeda of Twisted Sister. That's an interesting booking. I don't think they're gonna do very well, but I'm not sure. I have no frame of reference. I really don't. They could do crazy well. I just don't know. And they added Tom Savini. So I'm really hoping that Steel City adds some more people that I need, because right now it's not looking too amazing for me. But I mean, there's plenty of time for them to do that.
I mean, yeah, Lou Graham is very good for me. I think I'm actually excited for Altoona, which we'll talk about later. And I'm definitely going to phone in the exchange here for Steel. I think Steel is going to win out on a Terrificon. I see them leaning a bit towards the Stranger Things, and I wouldn't mind like a Noah Schnapp or something like that if they would go in that direction. Like they might go somewhere with like I guess they could just as easily do like Millie Bobby Brown or something that would do nothing for me. But I wouldn't mind one of the two, either Finn or Noah, that I need. That would be a cool headliner if they could do that.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing is I just don't need anyone from Stranger Things. So maybe Finn Wolfhard. That would be it. I pretty much got everyone else from the early seasons. So it's Finn Wolfhard or bust at that point for me. So I don't know. I'm hoping for some
Winona.
I would get Winona. I would not consider her. I mean, yes, she is from Stranger Things, but that's just not how my brain would work.
Better chance of Savage.
I don't think that's true. I think she might. She did a private. So. Anyway, what else we got on this list? Rhode Island Comic Con really just kind of naming stinker after stinker. And I don't mean to disparage the names here, but first of all, they advertised last week or the week before an NCIS reunion, which no one was clamoring for. And then they announced these names who were just not even the main names from NCIS. And then they announced that this week was Star Wars week, and it was all like people from newer Star Wars or like animated Star Wars. I don't know who these people are. Chris Bartlett, Simon Williamson, Paul Sun Young Lee, Paul Blake. I don't know who these people are. There's terrible names. I know like everyone's dead who matters, but still, come on. What are we doing?
Yeah, no Hayden Christensen, no Ewan McGregor. It's early, it's May, the show is in November, but let me just say, and we discussed this, and I want to just put this on, over the airwaves. The Rhode Island lineup right now, without Michael Douglas, is bad. It's not good, and I really hope they're not overestimating what Michael Douglas is going to do, because it's very expensive, as you pointed out yesterday, the pre-order only thing is inherently just gonna like sort of push people out. He's not going to be the headliner they want him to be. He's going to be some like he's sort of like, it's like the year when they had the Transformers guys, like they were kind
they'll
of
be in a
their
side
own
room
bubble.
and that's it. Yep,
Yeah,
I agree
that's
with
what
you.
he is.
Yep.
So they can't, if they're building him into the system of like he's our headliner, like this is going to be not a great lineup. So they need headliners.
Meanwhile, Space City Con in San Antonio, they have a Star Wars reunion with Hayden Christensen, Ian McDermott, and Jimmy Smits. Now, granted, Space City Con, I believe their budget is significantly higher than Rhode Island's, like significantly. But still, I mean, there's just no comparison there.
No.
What else? Monster Mania Oaks, not a great lineup for us.
Actually, I'm so
far.
sorry. It's Cherry Hill, not Oaks.
Oh,
I don't know why I
is?
put Oaks. Yeah, Monster Mania Cherry Hill.
That's right. Cherry Hill's in August.
Yeah.
Monster Mania Cherry Hill in August. They're doing a Hellraiser reunion. I mean, we've seen these people so many times that I just don't know what. This is not going to draw, so they need something else to do that. But we'll see. We'll still probably end up making our way to Cherry Hill. But I'm going to be honest, the Cherry Hill lineup is not great either.
I don't think Malcolm McDowell. Well, hold on. Here's the reality. They got Robert Englund. That's all they need. So that they're drawing. So I don't think they care. Malcolm McDowell, they have people I need, and Robert Englund's going to fill the building. And I guess that's what they're doing. They're going to play some greatest hits. They got Chris Chalk and a couple others that are like kind of fresh and exciting, and they're largely going to just lean on like the greatest hits.
No, it's not amazing. Not amazing for me anyway. I was hoping for amazing. I always want amazing. That should be to me. That should be the goal.
It's not. I mean, I guess the goal is making money, and I guess if their system works, more power to them.
Now you added this in. I don't even know what this is, the Fanatics Fest thing. So
I'll be real with you. I barely know what it is. On the Fanatics Fest guest list, there are certain names that have the caption of free photo ops. Names like Georgie Murison, Santana Moss, and Chuck Knobloch. It's a lot of the lower scale talent. I don't know what a free photo op looks like. Is this at a booth? Is this going to be in one of the pro op tents? I can't imagine it'll be that way. I don't think the economics wouldn't work out. The photo op company would have to get paid. That I don't imagine they'd be paying them for free photos. So I don't know what they're going to look like. I probably will be nowhere near this because anything free at a con like that is just instantly a mob scene, and it's like these guys are not that exciting. But if you are a fan, if you're going to Fanatics Fest and you want to sort of pad your schedule with some potentially free stuff, be on the lookout for hopefully some more details to come.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Nothing's drawing me there anyway. At all. You need to talk about the next one as well.
All right. I don't think this is new news, but it's new to my consciousness. Manchester Comic-Con has a full Bones reunion. I was a fan of Bones. You have Emily Deschanel, you have David Boreanaz, you have some of the supporting people. Boreanaz has not done much in the States, at least not in the Northeast, I should say, and he has not done much up here in a while. And Deschanel, I don't believe, has done anything in the States, con-wise. Perhaps she did, but nothing that I was aware of. That's a reunion I'd like to see somewhere around here. I would pop for that group up. And the one cast that is not there that sent Sean down another rabbit hole was John Francis Daly, also from Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, it's annoying to me that John Francis Daly has done some cons, but just nothing around here. And as crazy as this sounds, I'm a huge Freaks and Geeks fan. I'm a huge Freaks and Geeks fan. I am eyeing the possibility of zipping out to Austin in August for John Francis Daly. If anything else in that con piques my interest, then I might do that. Is that crazy?
Yes, without question. But I respect it. It's what I should have done for Kramer.
I mean, right now the con is not amazing. There's not a ton of names who I need. Lots of video game voice actors and stuff who I don't really care about. But Yeah, very much on the radar. So we'll see where the ads go for that one. So if anyone has any experience at Austin PCX Con, like that, what a weird show. I don't know anything about it.
I'm assuming
is that a big show, a small show? I don't know anything about it.
PCX, I assume, stands for Pop Culture Expo.
It does, yeah, but who runs that con?
I have no idea.
It's not the MegaCon suite. So who runs that? I know nothing about it. So if you know anything about Austin PCX, by all means,
sound off.
Let me know. So if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out autograph collecting community on Facebook. All links are in the show notes on Facebook and Substack. If you want your event, product, or brand advertised on episodes of Marked Out Radio, reach out to us today at markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com. Get your Marked Out Radio merch on our ProWrestlingTees.com shop. See the link below or check out the pin post on Facebook. Also, please subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and or review. You can leave a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. You can leave individual comments on individual episodes on Spotify or an overall rating, or you can leave a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or a comment on any episode on YouTube. All engagement is encouraged. So let's jump right into the listener questions. I love how somehow we thought this episode was going to run short, and we're running way long already. It always happens that way. So let's get into the listener questions. Now, you've been punting on this question probably for months because we wanted to give it its just due. So Martine asked, it was months ago, that he said that he had recently gone to Steel City and met 3 rock musicians, Bruce Dickinson, Geezer Butler, and Dee Snider. And he asked if you and I, Dana, if we were in charge of putting together a con with 10 to 15 music guests, like a rock con or a music con, who would we book?
Okay. Our cons are going to be drastically different. Are you ready to take it away on your end? I feel like you probably have a more complete picture of what you're going to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I would do I think there's big money because look, here's my logic. So at the end of the day, the people who are spending money on cons right now are probably people ages 38 to 55. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
That's like right in the sweet spot. And so we're talking, young Gen X to elder millennial. Those are the people who are to actually middle millennial at this point. So the millennials and the young Gen Xers are the ones who are spending money at cons. And so the young Gen Xers to the millennials, we're talking about music acts that got big somewhere between 1993 or 4 and say 2006 or so. And I think there's real untapped money to be made from acts that got big between those time periods. And the magic trick, so there's 2 ways of doing it. On one level, you could just shoot for the stars and say, yeah, we're going to book Metallica, right? But Metallica could draw 10,000 people on their own, maybe more. And so probably more. And you'd have to book them at a $5,000 price point. And so to do that, I don't think it would be, fruitful for this conversation. I wanted to think about making it more realistic, something that really could be done. Maybe bands that or musicians that aren't really making a ton of money anymore and therefore might possibly be coaxed out into the wild, right? So, when you're thinking like for example, the Backstreet Boys get brought out pretty regularly because they're not really drawing too hot on tour and that's selling a lot of records. So it's an easy way for them to make money. So thinking like from that, and the Backstreet Boys dropped in 97, 98, right? So of that era where there's real money to be made. So, I mean, do you agree with my premise or no?
Your premise is pretty on point with where I'm going with mine, just different. But yeah, I agree with you.
And so I'm thinking, music acts that would draw fans and that would realistically be able to sell combos, because that's where it gets tricky, right? Because for example, if I would also look because of who I am and what I listen to, and also I think the music of that time period that was big. I would want to do like a Warped Tour style event with those kind of acts. I think those kind of acts would draw. The problem is there's two tiers of bands and musicians in that group. On one tier you have the mega stars, the Green Days, the Gwen Stefanis, those kind of groups. And I think those are probably unattainable, truthfully. I think they make too much money, they're too wealthy, they would never do a con like that. They're just too big. I mean, like for example, Green Day doesn't even do meet and greets, because they don't have to sell meet and greets. They make too much money. They don't have to. So right away that kind of chops down like the top tier from that era, which makes it a little bit more challenging for me. Even a top tier group like a My Chemical Romance, they don't even do meet and greets. They make too much money. I don't even think they could be had for a con like that. Although maybe if you were to do sort of a mega stadium type of con, you can get a group like that to do it. So then now we have to chop down another tier. And so who am I booking for an event like this? Well, I would say, and this is going to sound funny, but I'm going to stick by it. I think you would draw. First of all, tell me that this guy shouldn't be doing cons already. I think a no-brainer is Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray. Is a no-brainer.
For sure. I'm aware of Sugar Ray. So yes, if I'm aware of them from that kind of
he's
genre,
had
for sure.
Mark McGrath has had movie cameos. He was on The Apprentice. They were a massive group for a brief period of time. They fit, I think, the genre really well. To me, I think Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray is a no-brainer. No, he should be doing cons today. Why he's not, I'm not really sure. So that's I would dare say you could probably, build a con around a name like Mark McGrath. Where I'm not saying he's drawing 35,000 people on his own, but I think you get enough people out for combos for a name like Mark McGrath. I also think you bring out a group like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. For example, I think they have a lot of soundtrack credits. They have a massive appeal in this particular time period. I think they would do very well. Again, to me, a rather no brainer kind of name. I think who else would I do from that era? Well, let me take a pause on mine. So I know you would go in a different direction from mine altogether.
Yeah, I'm looking at a 80s, 90s hip hop assortment, and I want to sort of take it on a level of I'm not going to say Dr. Dre, I'm not going to say Nas, I'm not going to say anyone like that, because I mean, obviously, if we're fantasy booking, you could just, like you said, you could say Metallica and you could sell out infinitely. I'm looking at people that are recognizable to the age group, like you pointed out, that are spending money at cons, and also that do different things that would not make a con necessarily beneath them. So I want to look at a couple of the names on my list right now. I think a complete no-brainer. DMC does so many like Comic-Con appearances already at booths and different things. Rev Run doesn't really do a hell of a lot besides writing books that he does signings for with his wife and the other people like that in his family. How come DMC and Run have not been together at a con offering pro-ops? As the main, the two MCs from Run DMC. Granted, Jam Master Jay is no longer with us, but let's be honest, most every lyric was them. They're the guys, basically. I don't want to disrespect Jay, but that's the two. That wouldn't be a pro-op that would sell out at a lot of cons. I think it would. Method Man and Redman, a little more modern. Redman sat at New York Comic Con last year for 2 hours slinging some comic book. He's above a con where he can make real money. I can't imagine he really should be or would be. Method Man did one and has other stuff scheduled. how insane of a draw would they be together at a con like this? Am I insane to think those two group ops would draw?
I mean, I think they would draw okay, but I mean, Method Man didn't draw like crazy himself, so.
That was also Pittsburgh on Sunday morning. That was not the greatest. That wasn't really in his wheelhouse. Little more deep cuts. I would also be looking at EPMD, Eric and Parrish, both alive. Both should be doing cons. NWA, MC Ren, DJ Yella. Why are they not doing signings? They're not Eazy-E. They're not Dr. Dre, but they still have the cachet to sign the albums, and they're part of the group. I don't get why these guys are not doing events. And then there would be other names. You want to jump back in with your vision a little bit before I take mine home?
Yeah, so I also think it's funny because I think he's a no-brainer, and he probably will be doing them. I know you're not too familiar, but I think Jarrett Reddick from Bowling for Soup would be a fantastic name for something like this. Tremendous exposure from he did the theme from Phineas and Ferb, and I mean a couple of monster hits, and also a little bit underexposed in recent years publicly. I think you could. I'm not sure why I'm not sure why Sebastian Bach from Skid Row hasn't been approached for cons, or even Bret Michaels. Like, why hasn't Bret Michaels done a con? Bret Michaels I think he's gettable for something like this. He does meet and greets, right? So you do Bret Michaels, you do Sebastian Bach. So I would say Bret Michaels, Sebastian Bach. I would say Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. I would say Mark McGrath. Who else? I also think for some women, I think you can get Michelle Branch and Jewel. I think they would do very, very well. Maybe like a Willa Ford type, or a Liz Phair would do really well. And I think all these names are pretty gettable in this ecosystem. Also, I know the Madden brothers from Good Charlotte, they did Comic Cons, and for the comic books, do Good Charlotte. Benji and Joel Madden should do a con together. I think they would do really well. Good Charlotte was big for its moment. So what am I? I'm starting to make my name here. Also, I guess a big one, a big one, I think would be good. Would be Gavin Rossdale from Bush. I think he would do really well. Also, I think attainable, possibly. Who else? I mean, I've given a lot of names here. I think I think there's something to being able to put this together. I don't think I think the issue with the musicians would be more juggling them because they don't have any con experience. You know what I mean? Like juggling their personalities.
Yeah, for sure. I think that would be a big part of it. And I would just bring my list home. Big Daddy Kane, Tretch from Naughty by Nature, DJ Kool Herc, Curtis Blow, DJ Jazzy Jeff, who may not be interested because I mean, if he wasn't brought into that Fresh Prince reunion, I'm not sure. Warren G, who wasn't too good to go to a barbecue fest in Uniondale, Long Island. So I mean, if he could do that, why the hell can't he do a con? And then Texas legend Scarface, who does meet and greets. And if you can do meet and greets for like $200, why can't you sell combos for $200? I don't get it. That would be my show. I understand that this is like Backpack Fest, 2026. There's very little. I could have argued and maybe tried to say, well, you could do like a Jadakiss, you could do Ludacris, someone like that. Jadakiss does the dispensary stuff. So, anyone doing the dispensary rounds in theory. I think
Luda is smart enough to take a high dollar booking if it's thrown at him.
I would agree. But I figured, let me stick. I want a theme, because how I envision this con would be, I don't know how you'd really monetize all of this, but like you could do breakdancing, like in part of the thing. You could have like beatboxing. It could be like a Fanatics Fest of like hip hop, where there's different things and people could come in and they could cipher, and you could have like freestyle battles. And you could really make this like an entire like immersive experience. You could have food trucks. You could have different things that would make this a very much of like a cookout type of vibe that also has combos. And you could have a little stage for performances, even though me personally, I find performances a waste of combo time. But I that would sell tickets, because you got to understand, not everyone would want the combos. A lot of the people just want the experience of like being and seeing and performances and stuff. That would be my view of it. I don't know how possible it is, but I don't think there's a single name on my list that is unrealistic or should be unrealistic.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm as we're speaking now, I'm throwing this into ChatGPT to see if what its vision was. And basically, ChatGPT, when I was putting in my idea, it's like it's basically saying it's surprising no one has come up with this yet, because the people who will be into it will be at the age where they would want to spend the money on this kind of thing. And it's just a matter of getting the right players in the right spot.
Yeah,
and yeah, I would say my con would probably be a lot more expensive than yours. Fun, humorously enough, to run. But I think for $500,000 you could put something together. I just wonder what the profit margin is, especially if there's no performances.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, you wouldn't want to. I don't think performances would be part of that. It would be too much to have performances.
I think it would depend. I think like on my level, maybe you don't get Meth and Red to perform, but you could probably get Curtis Blow to go out there and do basketball, and Warren G could throw a Regulate out there, and you could get some of the, Jazzy could do some spinning, some scratching. He could do something with it.
I'm just wondering how that generates income. The whole point is to generate income from the thing. I mean, I guess the people like to see this other nonsense too, and the Q&As and all that, but I think there's money in for an event like this, the Q&As themselves they'll put asses in seats,
Yeah, and just to, as I'm saying, I don't get why this doesn't happen. I'm not going to go deep onto this story because I'm not done with it yet. I still think there's life in this, and I don't want to blow the whole thing. But of my list that I gave, one of these people on this list is a family friend that you and I have been privately trying to sort of get some sort of an angle on to do something either publicly or privately. And the name has said through the family that, I don't know if they fully understand what it looks like yet, but they were like a little hesitant to really jump into anything like we would provide on an autograph and combo level. And much like Matt Cardona's slogan, I'm not finished. I think there's still a way to sell this to this person, but it kind of shows a glimpse into what might be the stumbling block of getting these names and this kind of a show happening, where they don't fully understand it. They view it as maybe demeaning or beneath them or embarrassing or distasteful. I don't know what it really comes down to. But we're in a world today where you have very big musicians that do these things. They do. You have Keanu Reeves is doing the meet and greet at his con for what, $400? If that goes the way it's supposed to go, it's not a terrible price for a full band, one being an A-lister. Like, if these guys think
it's not a lot of money. He's not making a lot of money from this. It's a vanity project, right?
I'm saying, but these guys, same difference. Like, what is, Curtis Blow? I got him in my town. He was in my hometown, coming to this thing for some what? These guys will take bookings damn near cutting ribbon at a supermarket grand opening. Like, they're not only at Madison Square Garden doing big things. They haven't seen big stages in decades. It's like there's no reason why they shouldn't be doing or open to doing cons.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. So I would love but the problem with this kind of thing is that it would literally require a year to plan and someone to invest $500,000. And I think that these are things that could be done if you had those two factors, but unfortunately I have neither. I have neither the investor nor the time.
And what a perfect segue to our second question from Chris DiGiovanni. Would you ever consider running a con? What would be some of your ideas to make it a success?
I would. This is hard because my instinct says no, because I just know it's so hard to make any money on these things, and most cons don't make any money. especially new ones. You have to kind of like expect to lose money for the first few to then, build up enough of a brand to make money. Because you're dealing with, at the end of the day, you're not only dealing with the retail of selling tickets to customers, but you're also dealing with the back end of negotiating and dealing with the talent. It's like both sides of the coin simultaneously, and that's just a lot. There's a lot that can go wrong that's beyond your nexus of control that could ruin you financially.
Yeah. I already do, honestly, more than I wanted to do. I initially went into my profession to not work summers, to have holidays off, and to be as lazy and unproductive as possible. And now with my current life, I do work summers, which I don't think I will forever, but like right now I am. We have a low end retail business, which while being low end still has weekly packing commitments, where a couple days a week, at least, sometimes every day, I'm packing orders, which I appreciate, but at the same time, it takes time out of my day. As much as I love the podcast, this was part of the reason I was hesitant to do it, where we record, let's say we record a 2-hour episode. We have another at least 40 minutes of sort of off air, like just getting the whole like outline together. You're talking 3 hours out of your weekend doing this. Then I have other commitments at my day job, and I do enough as it is. I don't want to do more. I'd love to do less. So do I feel like doing something like this where I'm going to, go put mortgages out on things I have to have the equity to put this together myself? No. Am I going to be able to find investors that I think would actually, trust me, who has never run a con before, to like put this thing together? No. So I don't really see a way. And as much as I liked spitballing my music con, my like backpack fest, I don't honestly know if the hip hop community would really care for this. The mass appeal signings were a hit because they were very, very, very cheap, in many cases free. If you have to start paying like convention level pricing, I don't really know what they would do. So I don't have an idea. I'm not in the market of losing money. I lose enough money buying the crap I like to buy. So I don't have anything in my brain that I feel confident would be profitable. And if nothing's going to be profitable, I mean, I'm not going to waste any more thought on how to do it. So yeah, I don't see myself ever running a con, and I definitely don't have a desire. Like Ken's in a position where he runs a Ken con and it works for him because he has the way his business model works, he makes it work. Ken is not an idiot. If Ken's going to run 3 of these, he's doing something well with it, that he's happy with his results. I have no desire to go rent out a VFW hall and have marked out con and book, the caliber of talent we'd be dumb enough to bring to a VFW hall to do what? I don't have that desire to run around with a staff lanyard and say, "Oh, I ran a con." If it wouldn't be a big success, I don't want to do it, and I have no ability to have a big success. So my answer is no, but it's a great question.
Yeah, I think fundamentally that's the key issue that we're dealing with, is that the success is not guaranteed. Are you doing this as a fan? Is this fan service, or are you doing this to make money? Because like anything else, those are two very different goals. If I were asked, if someone wanted to hire me on as a consultant and said, put this together as like the mega fan you are to make this the best possible experience, because we want to do a great job. Like let's say a Fanatics type company or a Reed Pop hired me on as a consultant that says, put this together because this stuff, right? That would be a lot of fun, and I would eagerly do that. But if I had personal money on the line, I think my behavior would be naturally and understandably very different. And that's unfortunately the line one walks with all of this stuff, is the line between fan and business person. And so I would truthfully, after I was retired, or if I had a lot of free time, I would, because I haven't talked about these publicly, but I do have other like projects, hobby related projects that are kind of brewing in my head for the future that I would love to do. And putting on one of those music cons, like the music con that I talked about here just now, I would love to do that. I would love to put it together, but I'm also not sinking my own money into it. So if there's someone out there who wants to put it together and has a vision and wants me as the showrunner, I would do that. I would probably die by the end of it out of stress, but I would do that if I wasn't putting up my own money, and getting it all together. And I would love to learn about that process of, getting all those people in a room and figuring out what the show floor would look like and all that. I would love to do that. But I'm not sure there's really any money in a new con concept when the market is so saturated, number one, and number two, these very, I mean, you like just Fanatics alone. Fanatics is a multi-billion-dollar company, right? And so understanding that they have resources to blow, they just do. They can burn through resources, and it doesn't really matter to them. That changes the calculus for how these things work. Reed Pop is a multi-million-dollar company. MegaCon is a multi-million-dollar company. Altered Reality is a multi-million-dollar company. They have resources to burn, where if something goes awry, they're not ruined personally and professionally by this. That there's a reason why, and a lot of people like to say, when the smaller cons have flamed out. A lot of the ones that really have flamed out publicly were run by smaller outfits or run by fans. That's not a surprise, because the people who are really making money at these things, the talent, the agents, they really make money. They know how to make sure they're going to get theirs regardless. And they don't care if you come out with your shirt or not. That's true if you're a vendor and you book a talent. Talent does not care if they draw enough to make you any money. The talent never asks how much they drew. They don't care, right? So that's an important thing to consider, that the promoter, I do understand why the promoters get to be a little sharky and get to be cutthroat in how they operate, because no one cares about the whether they're profitable or not. And so only they do. So I get it. I get why doing a con is such a brutal undertaking. I think we should punt on this third question.
I like the symmetry of how it ties into what we're talking about, but I'm not mad at it. We're running long.
Massively. So we'll get to it. So what's coming up for us next week or in the upcoming months? So you added, you're attending Road Dog at Ken's tomorrow, because Lord knows that matters more than spending time with your mother.
Well, I'll be doing both. Brian Myers commented on Ken's post saying, "Ken, it's Mother's Day," and Ken's response was, "Bring your mother," which I thought was hilarious. I won't be bringing my mother, but I will be taking a very quick hit to the Sportatorium tomorrow to get some of my essentials done from the Road Dog.
It's funny because I using the word Road Dog and essentials in the same sentence is very interesting.
I got some pieces. I got some stuff. I got to fish out my tag title. I have my Mattel Retro 2-pack he will complete with Billy Gunn. I got some stuff. I got some heat. I got some magazines. I'll be there. I also need, in the next couple of weekends, I got to do some sort of an NYC combo hunting day. There are some hippos I need to scratch off my list while I can. Obviously, tomorrow being Mother's Day, it won't be that day, but the next couple weeks, I got to figure something out for that. There's a couple things I want to get while the getting's good. Fan Expo Philly, I have to. I know I missed the ticket mailing deadline. I don't really care about that. I'm going to lock in. My car is coming together, and with these gas prices, best believe I could need all the gas chip-ins I can get. So I got some people I'm riding with. I think Lance is going, so we're splitting some stuff. Ira's going. It'll be a good time. Speaking of good times that you will be missing out on, Josh Gates Live. He is in Patchogue, beautiful Patchogue, Long Island, and he will be discussing, Wendigos and King Arthur's Court and all different things. And I won't be hearing a word of it because the meet and greet is pre-show, and I will get the hell out of there if things work in my favor. Fanatics Fest, 3 days. Which, by the way, that ticket is going to run me like $260 with fees, the admission alone. I knew it was pretty much up there, but like seeing it, I looked at it the other day and I'm like, yeah, that kind of sucks. We have Terrific Con or Steel City. I'm pretty sure it's going to probably be Steel City as far as where I'm pushing. I think I skipped Altoona, but we're doing Altoona. The hotel is booked. We're in.
Yeah. You really wanted to. You're committed to Altoona.
I mentioned it today to my wife and my mother, and their face when like I explained to them, and like my wife goes, so she's like, so you're going to Altoona? First, she's like, where the hell is Altoona? Which I mean is a fair question.
That's a very, very fair question.
So I explained to her that it's like Western Pennsylvania, and then I sort of ran through what I was meeting, and then the next question from both of them was, so you're going to Altoona to take pictures with animals? And I said, well,
I feel like that's an oversimplification.
Yeah, I mean, it is. That's what I was leaning on with the most excitement was like the wolf cubs. But I don't know why I feel more excited about Altoona. I still haven't done any of my homework to watch any of these projects, but I don't know. I feel better about it. Maybe it's that Steel City, in theory, I'm already envisioning it's going to be better than it is right now. And I'll be happy to have that sort of a get-out-of-jail-free card to go to Steel City. But yeah, Altoona, we're going, we're booked, we're in. I'm happy about it. And then you are still chewing on Keanu Reeves and Simple Plan.
I am. I that's going to be a pretty much down to the wire decision of how to make that work. There's no other way to say it. It's going to be down to the minute where I'm going to be that day navigating and negotiating. So this is going to sound really messed up. So the other day I was going through my signed vinyls, right? Because I believed that I had an unsigned Simple Plan vinyl. So I was fishing it out. So I was going to bring it to get signed by Simple Plan at the meet and greet. Well, wouldn't you know, I fished out my Simple Plan vinyl and it's signed by the whole band.
Wow.
So I must have bought it from one of those, like, during COVID, there were a lot of bands that were selling these things. So now the one item that I wanted to get signed during the meet and greet, I don't actually need to get signed during the meet and greet because I have it signed already. Now there is a second vinyl that I would get. So that I'm not saying but it's certainly complicating matters now that I don't need to be back for this graph. Look, the main issue for this is that the damn Keanu Reeves thing is scheduled so late in the day. I wish they would, if they told us, Keanu's going to be at 3 p.m., it solves my problem. I would just go to Keanu first and then go over to Central Park. I just have a feeling, they're going to hit us with a 7 p.m. at Keanu and I'm going to cry about it. That's the truth. That's my feeling.
Yeah, that's kind of the general time I'm expecting. It's going to be, it's going to be very much Bill Murray in the way that was sort of worked into the day.
But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, please email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out autograph collecting community on Facebook and participate. And as of right now, again, we have no signings that we're announcing, but I think in the near future that's going to change. Nothing at this moment, but it will change soon. So I think I'm due for a nap at this point because I've been awake. This is the longest stretch I've been awake in a couple of days, given my current state. So I think that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else to add before what's happening in the next week? Does anything happen? Oh, you have Road Dog tomorrow. That's it though, right?
And possibly next weekend I'll put some little trip together for myself, but I'm not positive.
I'm willing to wager that's not going to happen, but I think you think it's going to happen, but I think it's not going to happen. You got to take one look at it and go, meh.
Well, one day I'm going. I gotta hit it before these things end. I gotta go.
We shall see. I would like to do something over the summer as well, but that's something that we need to figure out. So I guess that's it.
That's it. I love how a short episode now is a pretty meaty episode for the people that like the long ones.
I know. It's hard to keep them under. I don't know. So for markedout.com, Marked Out Collectibles, Marked Out Radio, I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
And we will see you next week. Hopefully you have a week filled with Sumo Citrus Mandarins.